Okay, so today we have a Tennant 5680, and we actually have a drive motor that needs to be removed or replaced, and that is right under here. As you can see, that's the drive motor. So the mount points are on the opposite side, so you can see it from the left, and the mount points are on the right. So we'll go over here to the right side. Same orientation. And if we look in here, it's kind of hard to see without a flash, so we'll turn on a light. There we go. We have a mounting bolt here and a mounting bolt up there, right there. So those are a 5mm Allen wrench, and you can use a 1/4" drive or just a regular Allen wrench to loosen them. And you actually have to reach in and hold up on the motor. So you got to lay down and you got to reach and hold up on the motor so that it isn't pulling on the threads when you're taking them off. And usually if you just pull in on it to make sure it doesn't fall out, it'll stay in place. And then for reinstallation, it's the same thing. Get it up in place, and there's a little key, and I'll show you that. You have to line it up. You have to line it up with the transaxle, and that's right here, this little key. So it actually comes out. There we go, I had to pop it out with a dental pick. But this isn't part of the motor, this is a separate component that has to be in there. So as you can see, it fits in this place. It drops right in there. And then and this here hooks up to the transaxle, so that has to line up when you're installing it. So usually you line this up by spinning the transaxle or spinning this. You can use needle nose pliers and turn this to where it lines up perfectly. And I like to line it up with the bolts if possible. You just have to push the machine back and forth for it to spin on the transaxle. And then if this is vertical, it just makes it easy to line up your holes afterwards as well. And that's basically it. Now I will quickly show you the tools that you need. Like I said, either a 5mm Allen wrench, which I already took out, or what I find easy is you find your 5mm bit from your kit here, and then use your 1/4" drive. I had to find it. So use your 1/4" drive, usually with an extension, and then you either have the coupler that holds these in place. So this snaps onto there, this goes in the end. Or if you don't have the coupler, it's a 1/4" socket. So you can actually just get a 1/4" socket. It just doesn't hold in as easy. You have to kind of hold it all together. It'll fall out if you tip it upside down. But that's the best tool there to be able to remove it with. So I'm just going to assemble this really quick. So as you can see, we have the 1/4" drive with the extension, with the coupler, or 1/4" socket if you don't have a coupler. And then I snap my 5mm bit, which is, as you can see, it says 5 on it. And it's an Allen wrench or hex. Snap that in the end. And now that's how we're going to loosen those bolts and remove the motor. Come back over here, and even gravity lets this one fall out. We're going to make sure we unplug the motor. So we have to reach under, and I'll do it from the other side. It's a little safety clip on the motor. You have to pull out on this. See that? It has to pull out, and then the plug can come apart. Push that out of the way, and then we can loosen those two, that one and that one. And so for the purpose of this video, and to make this a little bit easier, you can take off this side wheel, and that'll give you easier access to getting at the motor and reaching under there. It's going to give me easier access to prop my camera and show how it's done. So a quick tactic is to put your blocks on and lift this up and shove some pads under. Just got to do it with both hands. There. And now you pull your extra pressure handle. Make sure it doesn't go back. As it's going down, it can't go back. So we'll hit this. Oh, the machine's not on. Just make sure this stays in the slot. Seems to be a little loose. Okay, it's in. So now I should be able to remove my wheel no problem. Alright, so I think I got a decent vantage point there. Now I'm going to go ahead and loosen these. You gotta make sure that bit is in all the way. Hold it straight, push in on it, and break it loose. It's very simple. I'll do the other one. These are kind of loose. So now I gotta hold up and in on this motor as I'm spinning this out. Otherwise the motor is going to flop out. Okay. It makes it easier if you push up and down, you wiggle it. The screw will have less tension on it. You'll be able to back it out all the way. Okay, there's my screw. I lost my bit. Okay, same deal. Push up on the motor, hold it there. You could prop some pads under the motor. If you find that's easier, you could certainly just get a couple of red pads and prop them up so that it's there. You may have to still leave room for you to wiggle it though, for everything to line up correctly. That's out. Oh no. There we go. The motor is out. Screw in there. Where's my shop light turned off? So let me just pull that motor out and we'll line it up. So just pull it out. As you can see, you've got your key, and if we go in here, from the other side actually, that's where the key lines up. So, like I said, if I turn a wheel, that'll go up and down. So, I like to point it right at those two bolts, the two bolt holes. So that's in line with here, that's in line with there. It allows me to turn it on the motor the same way, and it usually glides right on, no problem. So, as I said, needle nose pliers is the best way to do it, because the motor's going to offer you some tension. And there we have it. That's the point with that. Now, this kind of settles into notches, so if you find that this ends up one way or the other, you could either do it horizontally, or you could do it a little bit over to one side or the other, wherever it settles in, and then you just have to change the exact position of the pin on the transaxle so that they line up and match. But ultimately, when you put this up and on, once it meets up with that, then you can always turn the motor back and forth, so long as you're holding it in and it'll maintain that, and the motor itself will just spin. So we're going to get back under there and put this back on. Okay. I'm going to load up my bolts. One there. Put one here. Just to have it in place. So if I can see through this hole, it'll probably be easier. Oh yeah, went right on. Very nice. So, take my long one, go on the top, simply because the top is going to hang it better, if you will. I just got to not force it, got to make sure these threads catch. Push in with my hand that's threading, and I got to pull in with my hand that's holding up the motor. So again, having something prop up the motor, shoving something underneath it isn't a bad idea. Wasn't my idea apparently, because I didn't do it. But I believe I got my thread started. Just gotta double check. Oh yeah, it's threaded way in there. Okay. I'm just gonna get this bottom one going. And it's not gonna line up until I lift it straight up and down and give it some wiggles. If your bolt starts and then gets really stiff, try and wiggle the motor. If it will not absolutely turn, then you may have cross-threaded it. If it's only gone in maybe a half a turn or a full turn at most, then it might be cross-threaded if it won't turn anymore. You should be able to do this easily by hand, by the spinning portion. So that went way in. I'm going to double check my top one here, which is about 3/4 of the way in. Okay. Put my driver in forward, obviously. Okay. I'm still going to hold this up just to make sure it's not offering me too much resistance. Perfect. You don't have to over tighten it, just tighten and snug it on, that's it. Oh, this one had gone on all the way anyway. Then we route our cable so that it's not going to drag on the ground. You might need a zip tie for this, depending on the orientation of this cable versus this cable and the length of both. But that one there seems okay. Put our wheel back on and do a drive test.
Okay, the wheel's back on. Some people like to use a jack, but I find as long as you have that pad propped up, and if you find that when you're putting the wheel back on, that's jacked up and it won't quite line up, you can literally lean into the machine and go like that as you're putting the tire on, and it'll go right on. You just got to make sure not to turn it on. And some would even recommend once you jack it up in position, to disconnect the battery cable before starting to work. So we have it turned on, ready to go, and seems to drive perfectly. And that's how you remove and install a transaxle drive motor on a 5680.